Hi, and welcome to the Al's Guitar Channel. Tonight I'd like to do a short take on a guitar that was not in our regular schedule. Since my teleprompter is getting recapped, I'm going to read this right off the script. This is a Kay Kraft from the early 1930s. They were built by the Stromberg Voice and Net Company, although this one is straight branded as a K on the label. It's a style A because it's a mahogany back and sides with a spruce top. The model is called the Venetian. It was an archtop competitor to the Epiphone recording series, and those were built through around 1935. For those of you who are interested in the general size, it's 14.5-inch body, it's 3.5 inches deep, and going by the original witness marks on the top, it's a 26-inch scale. The guitar is also 1 3/4 inches at the nut, weighs in at a very light 3 pounds and 11 ounces. It's also a fairly loud guitar. If you had been part of our studio audience, you would have seen me weigh this on our scale. 3 pound 11 ounces is a pretty light arch top, as arch tops go. It's also a real joy to play. Really a fun instrument. Now, we're looking at this one tonight because this is owned by luthier Gary Zimnicki, and this guitar is actually one of two. Well, let's say two of many, and I'll explain that in a second. These guitars are very unique because of the neck attachment. They have a wing nut inside, and they have a cantilever arrangement whereby the neck can be adjusted for action. So if you want to tip forward or tip backwards, it's just a wing nut pull away. Anyway, a lot of these guitars, because they had no internal truss rod, they've, with the extreme age that they are now, they have really began to warp out. And it's a mahogany neck, it's a quality neck. It has a very nice rosewood fretboard on it, but they just didn't have the long-term stability that a lot of other makes did without having that reinforcement rod. They did have a steel bar that was put inside the neck, but it had no anchor point, so it really didn't have anything to grab onto to prevent that. So what you're looking at in this instrument is a neck, and I should say it also is a neck with a floating fretboard. There's no support past this point. But this one, Gary Zimnicki took the neck off it and then removed the fretboard and added a truss rod, a modern style action truss rod, which is amazing how much better this guitar will play than any other Kay Kraft that you're going to run into. I mean, you get higher up on the neck. It stays true, the intonation stays good. The action is very reasonable everywhere, and of course you can adjust it to suit your needs. But this is, in my estimation, it's quite a nice instrument. It really has a good feel in your hands. It's wide enough that it gives you plenty of room, which I don't know if in the 30s people had very wide hands, but it makes for almost any style of music that you would like to do. Now, as I said, this instrument is going to be for sale on Reverb, which is why we're taking a look at it. For those of you who don't know who Gary Zimnicki is, Gary Zimnicki is a very well-regarded luthier. He builds his own line of guitars, all custom instruments, and he also builds mandolins, he builds ukuleles, almost anything, and he can do almost anything. This instrument is completely original as far as the back and sides go, the internal bracing, everything on this guitar looks and is just as it should be, including the mother of pearl headstock overlay. Everything about it is spot on for what it should be, but Gary has taken it and completely refinished the neck. So if you are ever in the market for one of these and you see they've got many divots in them from capos over the years, this thing is just smooth as glass. It has a brand new gloss finish on it. Very comfortable to use. It's quite a good sitting around the house instrument, but it also has a lot of vibe to it. I mean, you really, when you play the thing, quite a bit of bass too. I mean, you can really great volume. If you had been, you know, around here when I did a decibel test of it, at 1 meter, it throws out a 90 decibel tone, which is pretty good. And that's just a standard E, about that loud. No breakup in the top. We're not trying to beat it to death, but it puts out a fair, healthy amount of volume. Very nice tone. Also, this fretboard has been recontoured. It has been completely de-divoted. It's an excellent playing instrument for somebody who's in the market for one of these guitars. And I gotta tell you, the longer that I have this thing in my possession, the more and more I like it. It really is a wonderful guitar. Anyway, that's about all there is to say about it. I thank you very much for tuning in. Stay tuned for your local newscast. For all of us at Al's Guitar, we bid you a nice evening. Thank you.